Hello everyone, welcome back to the Maverick channel. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hope it's great, hot, cold, just stay safe out there, okay? So my message, if you do not finish today's video, my message is, look, everything looks great. Bitcoin will never go down. Bitcoin went to 67,000 prior to the ETF launch, crashed back to 60,000, it's back to almost 63,000. Things look great. You're seeing Shiba Inu going up hundreds of percentages. You're seeing Shiba Floki on Trans in Amsterdam being touted. Anthony Scaramucci, like here, anyone who does their homework in Bitcoin ends up investing into it. Anthony Scaramucci, this was an interview of him on a news network. I can't remember which one it was, but it was also something about a $270 million investment that he made that turned into $1 billion. When you see articles of people saying, I'm a millionaire now, this and this, to the moon, everything to the moon, that's when you need to be watchful, guys. So that is the message for today, the main message. But I want to keep these videos short, so let's cover a couple of articles that I always think they're quite important. So our first article for the day, Bakkt stock soars more than 100% on news of its crypto partnership with Mastercard. So this is a good partnership, don't get me wrong, but you're starting to see this in the background. We don't know how detailed this is. We don't know how usable this is, but we're seeing Bakkt, okay, which is a natively crypto wallet custodian, but adding on to, well, Mastercard blockchain, put those words together, and you're seeing a spike in the prices in the market, positive sentiment. This is good, but either way, don't be too excited about stuff. Read a little deeper into it. So Bakkt stock got a boost on Monday after the company announced a partnership with Mastercard that will enable Mastercard's network of banks, merchants, and fintechs to integrate cryptocurrency services into their products, allowing more consumers to use crypto for purchases. Shares of Bakkt Holdings, the digital asset platform that went public via a SPAC. Those that do not know SPAC, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. It's a special purpose acquisition company, SPAC in full. So last week, were up more than 100%. So they're the SPAC shares, 100% the shares of Bakkt Holdings. So they were up 100% in early afternoon trading on Monday, at which point trading was halted amid exceptionally high volume. So the stock surge came after the two companies announced in a news release that any of the Mastercard's vast ecosystems of banks and merchants in the US will be able to issue branded crypto debit and credit cards and enable consumers to buy, sell, and hold digital assets through custodial wallets supported by Bakkt. So there was something that was stated here. One of the biggest questions that needs to be addressed is the extent to which holders of crypto are even interested in participating in commerce. So when you come and look at the Bakkt website, what you notice is their MO, basically connecting the digital economy, and Bakkt's mission is to power commerce by reimagining the digital asset ecosystem. So they're already reimagining it. But where I wanted you to note is, for consumers, they offer different products like aggregate, manage, and spend digital assets like cryptocurrencies, rewards, and gift cards. So they not only allow you to play around with the digital currency, but also rewards and gift cards. So you can use them in the real world. They offer solutions for businesses and also for institutions. So custodianship, Bakkt, partnering with Mastercard, Visa, enabling consumers to have basically a debit card which you can use to purchase stuff. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Very exciting for the market, and you can see why the market is acting the way it's acting. This is not the main reason, the main catalyst, but it's one of them. And as a result of that partnership of Bakkt, then you see other articles such as these. Mastercard plans to allow US partners to offer crypto loyalty rewards. So millions of loyalty rewards program users who may have never had any knowledge or use of cryptocurrencies could soon have some exposure to that. So you're seeing this natively crypto custodian wallet Bakkt, or company, partnering with a fiat native company, Mastercard, to meet in the middle and allow consumers, even those that do not know about crypto, to be able to leverage on this. So this is a Google search of SPACS, those that do not know, which are special purpose acquisition. It's a special purpose acquisition company. So a special purpose acquisition company, also known as a blank check company, is a shell corporation listed on a stock exchange with the purpose of acquiring a private company. So the private company does not have to go through an initial DEX offering, not initial public offering, which is an IPO. So the private company does not have to go through that, but there's a special company delegated to perform that task, or putting yourself in a position to perform that task. So something else to note about SPACs is that if you've heard of this guy called Chamath Palihapitiya, that's his name. He's a well-known a billionaire in the United States. He's one of the people that has been at the forefront of this movement. So he's made a ton of money from this. And one other, in our next news, basically, that's enough about SPACS and the Bakkt partnership. We see Decentraland make strategic investment in Decentral games. So this was published a month ago. We've seen Decentraland, which is basically a metaverse ecosystem based on the Ethereum network that is integrated Polygon and is growing ever more. They were holding these events called the metaverse events, where people like Paris Hilton came. I don't know how to pronounce this other DJ's name, 3LAU, 3Lau. He also came. It was like events that went on for 4 days, and there was merchandise dropped, NFTs dropped, all kinds of good music, good everything. Very successful event that happened. And we can see that as a result, I mean, basically this happened in the past. So Decentraland, that's why they make partnerships with companies like Decentral Games. And when we read through this article, you learn, play to earn is becoming more and more prevalent in the crypto space. But there's certain aspects about these people, the Decentral Games, that have created things like Ice Poker. These are basically games that could easily be integrated in Decentraland. And as you're moving through Decentraland, that metaverse, you can see some of these games in there. So basically casinos and other types of games. They're getting properly integrated within this metaverse or virtual worlds, and you're using actual money. There's a real economy happening. So this is steps forward to moving towards this metaverse, and that's all I'll talk about that. So the other thing I want to talk about is Fetch.AI, which I talk about quite a bit on this channel. I've wanted to always make a video about their layer 2 solutions, how they can be used as a layer 2 capability solution, until I learned there's a talk that Huma and Sheikh made on a platform called, I think, Token to London, something like that. So he did a talk about Fetch.AI. I think different platforms come and talk about themselves. And I was listening to that, but then I was doing a little bit more reading, and I realized that he displayed a diagram such as these. I always say pictures say 1,000 words. So this is a summary of, I've always wondered, how is Fetch.AI evolving? They've set out to be data people. How are they going to, but I know then they've looked into oracles and other features in blockchain, basically interoperability. But where are they going to focus? Now, I'm seeing the focus sort of capitalizing around the collective learning framework they're trying to build, but also functioning as a layer 2 solution without necessarily having that as a target. So innately, you find some of these features kind of aligning themselves. Of course, there's someone building them in the background. But if you look at this picture, basically you have your autonomous economic agents, right? And as a result of that, you have an agent framework, which is basically how the agents, which contains modules, and these modules allow you to program an agent to do whatever it's supposed to do. For example, you can have packages, you can have other types of modules in there, and you can have the skills as well. So with these different modules, the agents you can implement smart contract capabilities. You can implement their basically a business logic as these agents communicate with each other. You can implement their autonomy and their ability to interact as seamlessly as possible. Then these agents reside within a world which you can refer to as the open economic framework. And within here, they have things like agent communication network and also search and discovery. So you can search for a unique agent within this environment. It's the same way I can pick up a phone, or I can walk to my neighbor's place and then look for them. Maybe they stay there. So it's the same way agents search for themselves, of course, very effectively, because, this is their environment. This is what's up. This is their place. This is where they play ball. So they can easily talk to each other. Then there's another technological framework, which is the agent metropolis. So the technological stack, if I should say. So within the metropolis, this is where you have your ability to have, the Cosmos SDK implementation, which means you have things like WASM, and you can implement smart contracts within these autonomous agents. And then finally, the fourth structure within an agent, you have the blockchain itself. So the Fetch.AI mainnet itself, which essentially allows for consensus, security, immutability, and all that kind of stuff, all the good stuff that comes with decentralized technologies. So you can see that natively or innately, an agent serves as a second layer technology through the agent itself and its packages and its framework, the agent framework, but also the open economic framework, and then also the inter-blockchain communication protocol. These are ways to sort of integrate externally with other features. And they're also trying to implement Oracle solutions. So these are all ways of creating a very, very robust layer 2 scaling solution, not just for the sake of scaling a layer 1 solution, but because there's so much value within the layer 2 solution that the layer 1 solution basically provides those fundamental features like security, immutability, and trust. So basically the agent framework, it's amazing. It's amazing that it serves natively as a second layer technology, but maybe I'll cover that more in detail in the future. But basically you have all the information you need, and you can come to Fetch.AI/technology to find this diagram here. There's been a few articles written about Fetch.AI. We can see Switch.io labs here. So mostly research-based institutions that are interested in technology, how it's evolving. There's been a lot of articles written by Fetch or about Fetch by other people. Then there was this one, which was Fetch.AI's collective learning is featured under AI for Business, a special report from Raconteur on today's edition of the Sunday Times. Okay, so this was the article written. So basically, how Fetch.AI's collective learning models are transforming healthcare. Data is the oil. Some say the gold of the 21st century, said Joe Kaiser, the former CEO of Siemens. That was 3 years ago. But in the health sector, it has taken a pandemic to really bring to light the presence of his message. So if you look at the 4 stacks that I've talked about of the Fetch.AI framework, which is a second layer technology, you can draw the comparison of, you can see the parallels of why they're using this second layer technology. First of all, there's also things like parallel computation that basically happen within these agents. But if you make that comparison of the technology stacks that they've compiled, that have been compiled in the Fetch.AI mainnet and the collective learning framework, you see that it's about data acquisition, it's about usability of data. But if you look at natively, this collective learning framework basically is supposed to help different institutions or different healthcare institutions as well, or non-healthcare individuals, whatever, any organization that wants to implement some sort of business logic within an agent. But with the case of the collective learning framework, you have different institutions running different decentralized computers or running different machine learning models that are training data. So for example, you can look at X-ray data and you can compare various inputs of that X-ray data to notice ailments within these different X-ray data. So you can compare the normal ones to the ones you think are normal. Then the computer keeps making comparison and then eventually detecting the ones that do not fit into the category of normal. So to be able to do this, you need to implement different machine learning algorithms, and by implementing these algorithms, you can determine which is the best algorithm to determine the best weights as you're training that give you the best output or the better output. So with the collective learning framework, you can have all this data basically studied anonymously. So no institution has to know the people that are providing this data. So basically the patients or the customers. And then the hospitals, each of them can implement if they want, or an external party can implement a training algorithm that can then, so the best algorithm or the best weights that algorithm that works for training this data that you have, or these different institutions, is the one that's selected. So any of these institutions can choose to opt into this weight that's more efficient than all the other weights, or not. They can choose to do that. So that is a basic premise of the collective learning framework. But to read a little bit from this article, you can see Fetch.AI works with several industry-leading clients in a myriad of different sectors, including automotive, energy, finance, transport, mobility, and travel. But for the last 2 years, it has also been working jointly with several public and private hospitals across the globe, gathering data sets to develop AI-driven collective learning solutions. So how will Fetch.AI's collective learning model be a game changer? So Humayun Sheikh was the CEO of Fetch.AI, whose chief ambition is to make machine learning and AI universally accessible, says, our preliminary research revealed that large health care organizations were using multiple systems, none of which were interoperable, but the cost of moving data between them was significant. Our collective collaborative learning solution, which is now fully operational and ensures the seamless flow of data between systems, can reduce almost 90% of their cost. So you can see the quote here: to unlock the true potential of AI, we need to make it accessible to all individuals. Individuals as well as SMEs can immensely benefit from the transformation triggered by collective collaborative AI. So I'm going to post this article in this video if you want to read the whole thing. But essentially this is it, democratizing these complex ideas like machine learning and placing them in the hands of everyone else. The basic premise of distributed ledger technologies, at least what people wish for, the evangelism is sort of going towards that idea that we want to democratize as many things as possible. In other words, making them accessible to everyone, making a level playing field. So this is good, and this is why Fetch.AI is very bullish on this technology and what it can be used for, and the general Fetch.AI ecosystem. Alright guys, that's all I want to talk about today in this video. I hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next one. Take care guys. Bye bye.